All right, in this video, we are going to take a look at the future value calculator. We're going to spend some time doing some simple troubleshooting, or maybe not so simple troubleshooting. And we'll just kind of look at what's going on. And the first thing I want to do is I want to test this. And I can tell you that I have a working copy up right now. So let's test this. I'll put in $10,000 for 3.5% interest for 10 years. And I'm going to calculate the future value, and I can see I get $14,105.99. That is the correct answer. Everything is working properly. So what kind of things should I test here? Remember I talked about boundaries, right? Well, first let's start out. Let's leave some things blank. Oh, and I get an error that says the investment amount needs to be a valid number greater than 0. Great, that works. Let me stick in my famous dog test. Investment amount must be a valid number greater than 0, so it caught that error. Now let's try a negative investment value. And it caught that. So that's good. Interest rates, 3.5% worked fine. Let's try 0. Does 0 work? Nope, it says interest rate has to be a number greater than 0. That's probably a good thing. We'll check it with a negative number as well. And it works, seems to work well. Let's type something besides a number in there, and that works fine. A number of years, can we get away with putting a 0 in there? Oops. Looks like it's a good test. Okay, everything seems to be working well. So I've checked, and I've tried to make this thing fail in as many ways as I can. So that should be your first step. Coming up with these testing conditions. What am I going to test all my values with to make sure that these errors are being caught on the user entry? Is everything working as it should? Is it catching all the errors it should? Now we have an idea what good data looks like and what it should come out to when it's working properly. I'm going to pause for just a second. It won't seem like any time to you. And I'm going to go put a bug in this application. And then we're going to look at some ways to troubleshoot it. Okay, I'm back. Wasn't that quick? I'm going to refresh my page, and we're going to start again. And I'm going to put in 10,000, 3.5 for 10 years. And I'll hit calculate, and nothing happens. And that's one of the things with JavaScript. You don't really get to see your errors like you do in other environments when you're testing them in the web browser, and you kind of have to test these applications in the web browser. Fortunately for us, Google Chrome has come out with a great set of developer tools. There are other browsers that have developer tools built into them as well. Chrome is the one I know best. Chrome is the most complete and best one in my opinion, and in most people's opinion. If you're going to be developing for the web, you should be testing and debugging in Chrome. But I will say that some of the other web browsers have come a long way. But in Chrome, we can hit our F12 tools. So they're called F12 because that's the easiest way to get in, is just hit your F12 key, and it'll pop up something like this. There are other ways to get in here as well. You can also do a Control-Shift-I, or you can go to the menu button in the upper right corner of the browser and select More. Come up here and find Developer Tools in here. More Tools. Developer Tools. There it is. Control-Shift-I. The F12 is the easiest way to get there, which is why a lot of people just call them the F12 tools. Okay. So when I pop that open, it opens up a lot of tools, and it's going to open up on the last thing that you used. So here I'm on the elements, and we've looked at this before. I talked about it when we talked about looking at how to find CSS that's been applied to certain elements on your page. This is a great thing to use. Now I'm going to flip over here to the console, and immediately we have a message. It says there's an uncaught reference error error, is NaN is not defined. Is not a number, is not defined. Well, we use is NaN all the time. What would be wrong with that? So sometimes catching your errors is as easy as this. When I click that calculate button, it's throwing this error. Is NaN is not defined. And where is it not defined? future_value.js line 5. So let's click over here to sources. I'm not going to bring up my editor. I'm just going to go over here to sources right inside Google Chrome. And this lets me see the different files that are here. And you can see I have this in a directory. But you'd see all the files that are associated with this web page. And here's our index file. And you can see our inputs for our forms and a link to future_value_js. And we know that's where the problem is. So you can use this to look at your code index, your HTML code, your CSS code. We're going to look at our JavaScript code. And immediately when I open this up, I see an error. What's the error here? This is where our error is happening. It doesn't know what this is. And why doesn't it know what that is? Because is NaN is not a number. That's a confusing thing to say. Is not a number isn't coded with is capital N lowercase a. It is coded with a capital N, like this. So that's the problem. And I edited it in here, but the problem is I can't edit in here. I can use this to troubleshoot, but I can't really edit in here. So I'm going to go back over. I have two screens up. So I'm going to go back over and I'm going to fix my is NaN call. And I'm going to save it and we'll come back here and refresh it. Okay. And now I have NaN spelled the correct way and I can test my application. $10 years. And now everything seems to be working properly. So sometimes it's as easy as looking at your console, seeing if there's any error messages there, and it might tell you exactly where they happen. In the next video, we're going to look at tracing through in a little more granular fashion using these tools. We're going to actually do some breakpoints and step through our code one line at a time.